Appreciate this hearing on improving the safety of the nation's roads. This is an issue of critical importance because safety has not been improving. Just yesterday, I was on the floor for the approval of safety for the metro system here. Safety is becoming a critical concern in transportation. Since I have been ranking member, our subcommittee on highways and transit has spent considerable time on issues of critical importance like technology and innovation and automation. As important as those subjects are, I hope we can have more hearings on safety. We've had two hearings on public safety now, and I hope this is another one in what will be a series. I have written requesting a hearing on the oversight and monitoring of motor carrier safety under the CSA program, for example. There are a number of other topics regarding safety that are worthy of exploration. Mr. Chairman, motor vehicle crashes should be negative, should be going down, decreasing in numbers. You know, that's the American way. Either we want things to go up every year, like the economy, or we want things to go down, like crashes. So I was astounded that in preparing for this hearing, to learn that pedestrian fatalities have increased. That's an increase I'm not looking for, by almost 10%, 9.5% in 2015. They are at their highest level since 1996. What is wrong with us? What is wrong with what we have been doing that these figures have been getting worse? I have particularly concerns in the District of Columbia where pedestrian deaths represent 56% of all traffic fatalities. We're asking people to get out and walk, and then you take your life in your hands as you cross the street. The figures are continuing to get worse. The first 9 months of 2016, we saw an 8% higher rate than the figures I have just quoted in 2015, which were already 10% higher themselves. So we really can't sit idly by. I think the public wants us to do something. Obviously, these are matters at the local level and state level, but there surely matters here for this technology. Now, I'm pleased that technology, at this hearing, technology is an important piece of how we would enhance safety in my regard. And I'm fascinated by the work being done to advance innovative solutions for future generations to avoid needless loss of life. But full automation, which I believe would reduce needless deaths, is really not around the corner, as exciting as it is. The three leading causes of death in 2015 were the three leading causes of death in 2015 were responsible for 2/3 of all deaths, and they were all based on human factors. I'm not sure what technology will do about them. We haven't gotten to this in technology yet, because these factors were, almost 2/3 were because of alcohol impairment, speeding, maybe we can do something about that with innovation, and distracted driving. So the question before the House, as they say, is what steps can be taken now, right now, to bring down auto fatalities and injuries, to ensure that when you get behind a car or bus or truck, for example, that you have the training and education necessary to take on that responsibility, safety. One of my own major issues as ranking member has been more robust commercial truck and bus driver training. Buses, but particularly trucks, are an increasing mode of transportation in our country. Congress first directed the Department of Transportation to develop training standards for commercial motor vehicle drivers in 1991. That was over 25 years ago. Between 91 and 2016, the department failed to produce a rule that provided adequate training standards for drivers. All of that time, no rule. Late last year, though, the Department of Transportation put out a new rule based on negotiated rulemaking. I was very hopeful, given the negotiated rulemaking. But this rule failed to include a minimum number of hours behind the wheel training. So it's all up to the trucking companies, how much training they get. And the Congress of the United States is taking no responsibility for those trucks out there where people are driving without adequate training to drive a cut. That rule, which did not have a minimum number of hours, was really a missed opportunity, a great disappointment. So I'm hoping that today's hearing will be a change from our endless requests, which has become the norm, for exemptions and calls to block DOT safety rules. There is room for improvements in many rules of the federal government. But rather than calls to simply eliminate regulations, we should be challenging industry, Department of Transportation, stakeholders, all to be more creative and work toward the common goal to utilize their own resources and imagination to create a more safe road for all. So I'm very pleased that we have a NTS, National Transportation Safety Board member here. For 50 years, the NTSB has been the leader in setting a high bar for safety and informing Congress of what policy solutions will generate the greatest safety improvements. But bear in mind, the NTSB does not have enforcement authority. It is up to this committee and to the Congress of the United States. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Now, pleased to have Ranking Member DeFazio. Would you like to make an opening